MTDCNC Podcast, sponsored by Langley Alloys, unique metals for demanding applications, providing first-class performance and an international service.
Good morning, well, good afternoon. I don't know when this podcast is actually going to go out, but welcome to the latest MTDCNC Podcast. Colin Griffiths here, Operations Director, and I do look after a few choice customers. I think that's the right word. One of them is PSL Datatrack. Today, I'm joined by the one and only, well, tell me who you are, what you do, and your position in the company, Geoff.
Geoff, Gartland, Managing Director of PSL. And Colin, I must say, I'm not aware I've been described as a choice customer before, but I'll take that.
Yeah, it's probably not the right word, so I do apologise. But you know what I mean, in a polite and complimentary way. PSL Datatrack. Now, if you haven't heard about you guys, you've not been on social media in the last 6-12 months because you've been there every day and it's constant that you've got to invest in us guys. And personally, I don't get it. Why wouldn't you? But first of all, if people don't know what PSL Datatrack is, what do you do?
Okay, so we supply production control software designed specifically for subcontract precision engineers. So if you say, well, okay, what does that mean? So it's the business controls for running a subcon business, starting with quotations. You've got to obviously quote process, material, subcon, external processes as well, all the costs. You put your quote together. When that's successful, turns into an order or pulls the data through to an order, and everything then feeds through all the other modules, the purchase order processing, the stock control, the traceability, delivery, invoice. But you've also got other aspects, quality modules, contract review, and so on. So it's a full encompassing business management system for precision engineers.
Okay, so in very simple terms, right from the beginning of a quote right to the final payment of the invoice and everything in between pretty much.
Yeah, that's it. It covers the whole scheme. Yeah.
Okay, two things that would ring alarm bells straight away for me are, is this just for big companies? And B, it sounds like there's lots of processes and work. I think it's 27 modules, if I'm correct.
Modules, yeah, it certainly is. No, there's not just big companies. No, I mean, you've obviously been to visit a number of our customers over the years, and our smallest customer being a one-man band, our largest customer employing around 100 people. So you're talking a complete mix. Probably fair to say an average customer for us in terms of size is probably between 10 and 20 employees. It's probably fairly average. But we've got a number around 40, 50 employee mark as well. So the system scales to suit what you need. So for a smaller business, you'll have a closer eye on what's going on the shop floor. You may not need scheduling. You may not need shop floor data collection because you're so involved, you know what's going on. When the business grows, you need more management of the business. You need more recording. You need more accountability. You need more tracking. So that's where you can add modules to suit the size and scale of your business.
Okay, so with that in mind, again, am I going to get these modules? Are they just set in tablets of stone, or can I make them? Can I bespoke them? Can I have them how I want them? What do you do with these things?
So the strength in Datatrack is that if you go down the route of a bespoke system, very costly, unproven, and can be unreliable. That's not what we do. So Datatrack has something in the region of 1,500 configuration options that we set. I can't give you the exact number now, but it's around that figure. Now, they're not all yes, no's. They can have a range of different values. So they enable us to actually tailor the system based on options that are pre-designed to best suit how a customer needs the system to work. Now, off the back of that, of course, we can get situations where a customer will ask us for something or has a requirement we've never come across. That's where development comes in. And we build new features in through the wish list to make the system even more flexible. And then those new features become available to the entire customer base. So becoming a Datatrack customer, it's really like joining a community. You get those benefits back.
Okay. Now, we'll come back to more about the modules and things like that. But, we're all aware. It's not going to be a political debate or anything like that. But at the moment, where's the economy going? Where are tariffs going from the US? What are the current government doing? And I think that leads on to I get the impression there's a lot of financial pressures at the moment on a lot of businesses, being at the OEMs down to the small manufacturers, for financial pressures. And I'm going to come back to lots of quotes that I've had from your customers. Why didn't I do this before? So how does that sit with you?
Well, yeah, to be honest, what's interesting, customers go from the point of view of afterwards, why didn't we do it earlier? Why didn't we do it sooner? I wish I'd done it beforehand. Before the process, there's this concern of, what's the software really going to do for me? Is it really going to give me some kind of return on investment? Why should I bother? I've got a spreadsheet. I've got some other cobbled together system I've used, or I've got something that's not quite right for the business, but does a job. Now, yeah, of course you can do your best to try and manage a business with something that's not suitable. But why? Isn't your business worth more? So why would you waste time? Why would you waste your own resources that are limited and costly on doing things that are unnecessary, that are wasting time? You should make your business as efficient as possible from a business control point of view. You do it with your machines, or why not do it with the business management side of your business?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't get it. This, in terms of investment, is nominal. You go out and buy a £100,000 machine. You want to, it needs to be working all day, every day. You don't want to be sitting doing an Excel spreadsheet and time in your accounts and printing off your, you guys. Well, tell me what the first bit of the process. Tell me what it is and how simple it is.
Well, the quotes. I mean, we've got countless customers who've been on camera. You've spoken to them, and they'll say they've done quotes in minutes. In some cases, almost seconds. If it's a repeat part or it's a variation in terms of quantity and so on. So, yeah, your quote is a very first part of the process. Now, if you do it on a spreadsheet, brilliant. Okay, so you've done a recalculation. You think, yeah, it's all fancy, the spreadsheet. Get an order. Excel doesn't go anywhere beyond that quote. You're now into rekeying everything. That's a waste of time. It's also a risk that you don't repeat it correctly. Datatrack, effectively, once you've got the quote is like the software version of setting a machine, because it gives you that definition of what you're making, how you're going to make it, all the data to feed through. You're able to de-skill the rest of the process. Of course, there's some knowledge goes in terms of business. Of course there is. But the data will flow through. There's no risk of somebody mistyping something, ordering the wrong material. If they do, it's because the quote was wrong.
You say de-skill, that sounds like it's a very basic job. I think, it just, rather than make it a basic job, it takes what could be a complicated job, getting that quote right, because we have had your clients say and admit on camera that they have been doing jobs that have been making losses. It's just taking that mundane job, I think, out of their hands, and your software runs it all and frees up time and will make the money.
Well, it does. And what we have found as well, Colin, and I know you've spoken to some of our customers who've been in a situation where they possibly had someone who was running the administration. They don't have them anymore. The system has made it such that they haven't needed to replace them. Therefore, it's saved them real cost. Now, I'm not saying it comes in to replace somebody. It doesn't. But it may be what it does enable you to do is to grow the business without increasing your overhead.
Absolutely. So in terms of, again, people see software and things like that, and they always balk at, I've always done it this way and that way, and it works. And so how easy, and this is a rhetorical question, how easy is it to onboard, train, and then get new modules and upskill on those?
Very, very simple process. I mean, because it's something we've been through so many times, we have a proven training plan that we take people through. Now, of course, we can be flexible with that, but it gives us a plan of what to follow. We do the training via Zoom, so that's in bite-sized chunks. If you asked somebody who's running a busy subcontract business, can I have a day of your time for training? I'm not saying you wouldn't get it, but you wouldn't get 100% of their concentration, because there's always that thought, I've got to go and answer that phone, or I've got to go and do this, that machine stopped. There's always something going on. Asking for an hour of their time in one go is far more practical. Give them time and chance to practice between sessions, and then you meet up again the following week, go through another section of the system and so on. So we bring in alongside the day job.
Yeah, absolutely. Because and again, engineers, they want to be at their machine. They do have staff to look after orders to bring in and deliveries, etc. And they don't want to be doing, anybody's attention span, 6-8 hours all in one hit. No, give me an hour here, hour there, at my convenience, get it sorted. Absolutely.
Oh, so Colin, what do you retain from a training session? Maybe 10%. So if you've spent 7 hours, how much that time is really worthwhile? It's obviously limited. What we also do, we supply AI-generated training videos as well. So to back up the interactive training, customers have access to those videos that they can watch again and again and again to reinforce what they've learned in those sessions. Then they can practice, watch again, and so on. It's also good for bringing in new members of staff.
Right. Those. Excuse my ignorance on that. How long ago did you put the AI training videos up?
We started putting these together. Where are we now, mate? I'd say around about October time last year.
Yeah.
So it's a library we've been building.
Yeah.
And it really has proven very, very valuable for customers we've onboarded in that time. The feedback has been really positive.
Okay, good. So they can book time with you, but then they can watch it in their own time as well. But if they're not sure about something. Okay, excellent. So yes, you've got a whole suite of modules. Are there any ones that, and some not everybody will need or won't, they won't need. But are there any specific ones that you say, yeah, these are the absolute, this is what people really, really go for every time?
The core is obviously something that you can't run business without. So the core being obviously starts with quotes. You've got your works order and sales order control. Obviously, you're going to produce deliveries. To get there, you need the purchasing modules, so purchase orders, goods received, material stock to give you all that traceability on materials. You may have overproduction or you may make for stock, so you've got component stocks, and you'll have invoicing. That's the core of what you'll do. The common areas to move into, and we see a lot of customers do this, scheduling. Because you've got to keep an eye on what your machine shop's doing. You've got to have a plan in place. So as I said earlier, we may have a few smaller customers whereby they can keep it in their heads, but the majority want to schedule. So the scheduler with shop floor data collection, status boards, so you've got display boards showing you the sequence of work you should be following.
Yeah,
they're essential. They're really well received and very popular for driving forward that shop floor efficiency because it keeps people on their toes. They see it and say, oh yeah, there's my next job. Rather than, I don't know what it is. It's there, it's on the board.
Excellent. Well, two things there then. Scheduling. Customer phones up. Oh, no, I've forgotten about this job. I need to get it done today, tomorrow. So how easy is it to reschedule everything? Is it all just press a button, put in a bit of information, it will do all for you?
You do simply press a button. So the job's going with, obviously, date requirements and priorities. Hit a button. The system will determine the sequence to work through. Recalculate the schedule, the boards update within a moment, within 30 seconds, 60 seconds, maybe, depending on the refresh cycle. And that's it. There's your plan.
Excellent. Now, a few things as well. Customers have been out to see. I'm thinking DP Engineering way down south in Cornwall. Is it Technoturn? They've got there in Hastings and in Coventry from memory.
Rugby.
Rugby's. Yeah, but it is Technoturn, isn't it?
You've been down to both, and probably so it's the one you've probably spent more time with.
Yeah, because you've got a fantastic system there because they've got all sorts of individual monitors and scanning and everything like that. A whole data flow. Is that right?
It's been a real pleasure to see the improvements that have taken place at Technoset. It really has. The way the system has been embraced to push it forward and to maximise everything they can get from it, and to see the setup, the layout. Yeah, it's really rewarding, and to hear the feedback, how everyone buys into what the system's doing, helps with their daily meetings and so on. Yeah, it's great to see. Really.
Yes, that's a relatively big company, but you've had to, you off-the-shelf product, but then you've been able to bespoke it for those guys as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, the status boards are the part that probably have the most tailoring, if you like, because we'll discuss with the customer exactly what they want to see. So if somebody comes to us and says, I'd like some status boards, first question back is going to be, why? In terms of what do you want to get from it? What's the benefit you're looking for?
Yep.
So not just have something that looks nice on the wall, what's it got to do? And certainly we'll go through that consultancy process, discussing all the content, the colouring, the refresh rate, the different elements they want. So it really adds value. And that's what's happened.
Right. So you're not just trying to shoehorn a product into them, you're actually working with them to develop it. And that can be for every single customer. It's in essence.
Yeah, although we've been building a standard library of status boards as a good starting point, most customers require some changes because they've got their own ideas of, oh, that's nice. Oh, could I see this as well? Or, oh, I don't need to see that bit, but could I change this for something else? So it's a good starting point so they can see what's possible, and then it gets the ideas flowing.
Absolutely. And another great example is Josser, because we're off to see them soon as well, aren't we?
We are, yeah. And we went through a very similar process there as well, going through discussing exactly all the requirements they wanted. And again, the boards are designed to the specification that they requested.
So, all fantastic machine shop. I think just you've helped take that next level just in efficiency, time saving, and profitability because you're able to, make sure all those quotes are being profitable.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting when we get to obviously sit down with them shortly and see exactly where they've got to now.
Excellent. So where do you say? I mean, very briefly, it's not going to be a political debate because that's debate, but that's not what we're here for. Really uncertain times. Any views on that, or should we just move away?
I think I think the truth is, I think having efficient business management is more important than ever, because let's face it, everyone's seeing there are pressures. So those pressures don't just affect the bottom line, they affect your time as well. So why would you want to waste time doing things that are inefficient that could be done in a far slicker way?
Absolutely. So I am actually going to wrap it up there, Geoff, but I'm going to say it again. A lot of customers said, I wish I'd done this before. And I don't get it. Why would you not invest in this to make your company more efficient, more profitable? I don't get it.
I think truth is you need to look through, or you need to look past some of the horror stories you've heard in the news in the past about IT projects and so on. I'd ignore that and focus on the fact that this is proven, focused business software that works. I look at the feedback we've had.
There you go. It's all in the testimonials you've got. So, Geoff, that's a nice little summary of PSL Datatrack. If you haven't even thought about it, think about it. And if you haven't got it, get it, I would say. Is that fair? I
can't agree more, Colin.
Geoff, it's been an absolute delight talking to you. This is only a recording, but I'd just like to clarify, Geoff is in the west wing of his mansion.
I wish.
I haven't checked this on. It's conference room where you work. But Geoff, great chatting to you. And hope to see you all soon. Hope you enjoyed this week's MTDCNC podcast, and speak and see you all soon.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the MTDCNC Podcast, sponsored by Langley Alloys, specialists in a wide range of exotic materials for any application for all your engineering needs.